Welcome back in. This is a sit down with DT. I'm your host, the executive producer, and the creator of the one and only Sit Down with DT. Man, you guys know him. It's his second time on the show. Chad, brother, how you been, man? What's going on?
Good, bro. Man, I appreciate you having me on here. Living
Absolutely.
life. Living life.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say, I don't think I could have picked anybody better to bring back season two besides, God Himself or Jesus Christ. So
Yeah.
I appreciate, you taking your time out of your day and, coming on here, chopping it up with me. And, hopefully we'll switch up some answers and we'll get a little bit deeper and, build on more things than the first time. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
man,
A lot can happen in those 3 years, man. I'm excited for this.
absolutely. A lot has changed. A lot has
Yeah.
changed. I grew a bigger beard. You cut
Yeah.
your hair off. You don't look like a white guy named Shot no more. Yeah, man, lots changed though.
Yeah.
How's your day been though, man? What'd you get into today?
Good, man. Did some training sessions earlier this morning, then just kind of chilled at the house. Nephew had a birthday party, went out and dealt with the kids jumping on the trampolines and came home and chilling. Ready
I
for this,
feel
baby.
that. I feel that. Well, man, we're gonna hop right in. We're gonna hop right into this thing. I ain't gonna hold it no more of your time, brother. We're
Yeah.
gonna get right into this. First thing for you, man. We're both Orangeburg, Kentucky kids. We are both used and familiar to our community and how it's, molded us and made us into the man that we are. Let's just kind of dive into Chad Morris. Like, let me hear the origin story. From if you can remember birth. I've had people tell me they remember coming out of their mother
Uh,
womb, but I've never really seen that in person. So,
yeah. Yeah, man. I grew up. The first house that I can remember, I grew up on McFarland Avenue in a trailer. Kind of transitioned into some different houses over the years. Started out at Faust Elementary, then went on into OMS and then OHS, and played sports. I didn't get to play school. I didn't play youth sports. Didn't play sports until I was in middle school. Played basketball and football, and then played 1 year in high school, and then just kind of went to the streets. And you know what though? You know what goes down in the streets. So
absolutely. So, with youth sports, you say you didn't really play a lot of youth sports. Was there like a certain reason behind that, or was it just kind of like it didn't, like intrigue you or interest you at that point in time?
well, I think I always tell people like my mom and dad didn't put an emphasis on sports. My dad is, like blue collar worker. He's been working in the factories 35 years. And the American dream was to work 40 hours a week, have a nice car, have a nice house, and take care of your family and spend Saturday and Sunday with them, which, as you know, ain't the American dream.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Especially like, when you go into work and it's kind of more of a quote unquote job, even though it is a job. But when
Yeah,
it feels like, when it feels like a weight on your back instead of something that you're excited to do,
that's it.
it makes it like terrible overall, just not
Yes.
only just for you, but the household in which you create. So,
Yeah, so
yeah,
dad worked two jobs most of my childhood, and then mom was working second shift. So they didn't put us in youth sports, and even when I got to middle school, like coaches had to give me rides home. I had to ride my bike to practice, and all the way up through high school. I can think of one, maybe two times that my dad came to my games, and my mom never came just because she was at work second shift.
hmm. I'm gonna say, so you said a little bit there. We'll get deeper into depth on that, but I want to ask, how would you say your childhood molded you into the person that you are now?
Oh man, it everything like growing up, like mom and dad. Of course, we all have our own thing that we do. Mom and dad were big gamblers. They would go to bingo, play cards on Friday, go to the boat. But every Saturday night was Bible study.
Hmm.
Wednesday night had to be in church. Sunday morning
Same.
had to be in church. So, just the faith background and always knowing that no matter what I got myself into, that I had to run back to God. And, so that's kept me afloat even on the darkest days, darkest times. And yeah, faith, faith, that foundation.
Right. And very similar there. Like, grew up Warrensburg, Kentucky. grandma and your parents, and we've talked this story many times to the viewers that don't know it, but very similar in the background in which we were raised as far as faith driven. You're in church. Wednesdays is Bible study. You know to be in on street light.
Yeah.
Your mom and dad didn't play, as we know my granny don't play. And
No.
when she sees this video, she ain't even gonna play about the video. She's like,
No.
why are you talking about me in a podcast?
That's it.
So we know how that worked. Um, Switching it up for you, what was your original plan? You're a kid, you're looking to be the next who? Like, or are you looking to be a firefighter, a policeman? What was your initial goal for your life and the direction that you wanted to go with it?
I can remember in sixth grade, we had like an auction. I forgot what they were called, like grizzly bucks or something. I went to the 5-6 center. I think we was the Owensboro Grizzlies, and we
Mm,
got these grizzly bucks. So at an auction, uh, I bought Allen Iverson doll,
mm,
and that became my favorite basketball player. So that's who I mirrored my game after. Like I wanted to be able to cross people over. I wanted to showboat, like the tattoos, the braids, all of it. I loved it. So I grew up, my best friend of 33 years now, Jason Taylor, he's black. So like that was my community. I grew up in the community, you know. So
right.
uh I'm like, man, that's my culture. That's who I am. That's who I want to be. So played basketball. Like I said, I never got to play youth sports, but I was always at a park or even middle school years, mom and dad bought me a membership at the Y, and I'd ride my bike over there. And I always played with older people. And I wanted to play. I worked hard to play, but
Hmm.
again, once high school came, grandpa passed away, and kind of threw that dream away and started working and hit the streets.
Understandable. And I was gonna say from that and from those days of like partying, going out, staying out late, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., what did you feel that you were trying to solve, or what did you feel like? What was your reasoning for doing that, or was it just like I'm just looking to have a great time?
I think it started out as just like um started out as just going out and having fun,
Right.
but then when everybody knows who you are when you walk in and you become the so man, like,
Mm,
oh, it's Simo, what up, Simo, what up, and everybody knows you, just through. And I always call myself a people person. There ain't too many people I don't like, and try to love everybody. So if I see you, I'm gonna dap you up. I don't care what background you come from, what status you are, none of that stuff. But yeah, man. Once I became a barber and that took off, then of course everybody was Simo, 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 and I think it was just like a drug, man. You get that attention and you crave more.
absolutely. And with that attention, I know it brings women,
Yep.
but for you, there was one that caught your eye.
Yeah.
Just kind of going to depth, like how you met your wife, how everything lined up. You could talk about wedding day. Trust me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna crack jokes on you about wedding day. You thought you were
Yeah.
Usher, but just kind of go into depth on how you met, your wife.
Yeah. Crazy thing. I was working as the bag boy at Foodland, Taylor's Foodland.
See, people don't know
And
about Foodland.
man, like, and she was coming in there and I was like, all right, shoot, she looks good, whatever. And when you get that eye, I said, yeah, she give me the
Hmm.
eye. I
Right,
think I get this one. And it just started out, just to be all the way honest, it started out at like I hung around with older dudes. So I was like, and she's older. So I was like, man, I'm gonna be able to tell my homeboys that I found me an older chick.
right.
So she came in Foodland one day and her daughter was with her and she's like, you keep looking at my mama. You want my mama? I said, look, if I want your mama, I'm gonna get your mama.
You know me.
Hey, bro, I got off work that day. On the way to my car, leaving out the door at Foodland, I took my shirt off. Like, yeah, it's go time. Got got in the truck, bro. Went up Sycamore, and she was outside grilling hot dogs. I went down to the stop sign at 7th and Sycamore, made a U-turn and went back, and here we are, bro. 21 years later.
21 years later,
Yeah.
man. So
So
you're
we
the opposite of Shannon Sharp.
we
Shannon
got
Sharp
married.
like young women, you like older women.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
we got married 2017. We had been together for like 12 years, and then uh, me being a knucklehead, just kind of running around, doing partying, doing everything that I didn't need to be doing. Took me a while to finally be a what a real man is. And I just told God, like, man, I'm tired of living this life. Like, this woman stuck by my side. If this is the woman that I need to marry, then I need you to really show me. And it may sound crazy, but there's this movie that we had always watched together called The Prayer Room,
Mm. My
and like
granny made me watch that. Yeah.
there was a certain part in that movie, like every time I watched it, and we watched it several times, but every time it came to that part, like I'm crying. But I look over at her and like she ain't moving. And I'm like, so I literally that night I said, hey God, if this is the woman I'm supposed to marry, when it gets to this part in this movie, I need to see her crying, right? Bro,
Mhm.
we're sitting in the bed together watching the movie. Bro, she don't move. She gets up out of the bed and goes get some sour cream and onion Lay's potato chips. I'll never forget it. And comes back and sits down in the bed. I said, well, this ain't the one. I got up. I felt God tell me get up and go pray, bro. I went to the back. I got up, went to the back room, dark, pitch black. Got on my knees beside the bed and prayed. Went back in there, bro. Next thing I know, she pulls the covers over her face. I'm like, what is going on? I pulled the cover down, bro. She's crying like a baby. I said, I'm gonna marry you.
It's like lined up, divine
Yeah.
intervention, man. You knew that
Yep.
was the one from the jump. I
Yep.
was gonna say, and so that kind of goes along. Y'all together, y'all dating, boyfriend, girlfriend, and turns fiance.
Mhm.
Um, at this time, you got Corey already, and then I mean, y'all had Chaden as well.
Yeah.
But to backtrack a little bit on that, first time having a kid, how did that feel?
Man, to be honest, Chaden, I was 18, and me and my wife actually had two miscarriages before Chaden was born.
Mm,
So the first time she got pregnant, excitement, ready to rock and roll. And I think she got to like 4 months, and we went to the hospital and found out that she lost a baby. And so that was like, heartbreak. I had
right,
already been experienced a lot of death within my family. Lost my grandpa early, lost both my grandpas early, lost an uncle. The guy that watched me and my brothers for like 13 years and lived with us, lost him. So I had already been experiencing death, so that was kind of a more of a devastation. And then, she got pregnant again, and man, this time around, like she's in there using the bathroom. Shroom. And so lost another baby. So it's like, okay. So then of course she gets pregnant again. I'm like, all right, God, I need you to do it. If this is what he did. I always tell Chayton, like, man, you don't even know, like, that's my son. I love him. He's special. But I'm like, dude, you don't realize how special you are.
I swear, man, that's crazy. I don't know. You ain't never told me that. I don't
Nope.
think. I don't
Hey,
think I knew about that
hey,
part.
you said we was going deeper,
I
bro.
mean, hey man, we going raw with it for sure. Pause, but we going yeah. We definitely open it up a little bit more, and that's crazy. I'm glad that you feel that, that comfort and that safe space enough to open up and say that to me for real.
Yeah.
Especially after our first time, that's available for people to go back and watch. And they'll compare it to this time and be like, damn, boy, y'all sound like y'all was doing that for a grade in middle school
And
versus this really is kind of how we really talk on the
yeah.
phone. So,
That's what I
um,
try. When you ask me, I'm like, man, let's do it. Let's raw and real and uncut. Do it how it's supposed to be done.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I was gonna say, so from that, have a kid, have two kids. Let me correct myself.
Well, actually, bro, we had at the time, her oldest daughter was I was 18. Her oldest daughter was a sophomore in high school. So altogether, before Chayden was born, she had 6 kids, and then
Mm,
Chayden made 7. Which, when Chayden was born, her oldest daughter left for college and went to UK. So there were still 6 kids in the house.
okay,
So yeah. So
and so with that, not to cut you off,
no,
but
you good?
with that, how did you approach, like, you love the woman for who she is, 6 kids though, you
Yeah,
the stepdad in a
yeah.
scenario. How
Oh
did you approach that?
man, just like with anything, there were tests and there was disappointments and there was high
Mhm.
moments, and just trying to navigate it. I was really, looking back then at 18, is I guess especially with being with an older woman and thinking that I'm the man, you know.
Hmm.
Bro had now looking at it, and I'm 38. It's like, dude, you had no clue what you was doing. You didn't know anything about anything, bro. I was just navigating it day by
Man,
day.
and that's crazy, bro. Because like I always said, and I'm 24, still young. I'm not married in no relationship. I do my little flings. I have great times, and I keep it
Yeah,
pushing.
yeah.
But I don't know why. For me, man, it's always been like a kid's like the biggest, draw for me. Like you got a kid just because, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but for me, I feel like if the kid's already been influenced by its father or by another, male figure in its life, then I feel like that kind of makes for a tough scenario for a new guy coming in.
Well, my situation, like their dads really wasn't in their life very much.
Right.
Uh, so um, basically, I was just that guy. Of course, with the older kids who were closer to me in age, I didn't really try to overstep. I let their mom have, but like Corey, he was 10 months old, and
Mhm.
then Chaden, I just try to navigate thing every day.
I respect that. I'm gonna say I respect that for sure. So leading from that though, you have the kids, get the girl, that's your wife.
Hmm.
Let's switch it up on a little bit of the business side.
Gotcha.
Started off as a barber, going into barbering school.
Yep.
How did you first get your feet wet in that, and what led you to pick that career?
So at 16, my dad went to an auction. He was cutting our hair.
Mhm.
Like I said, dad worked two jobs, mom worked a job, but uh, big time gamblers. Uh, so I think that played a factor in us having less than what we could have had. Love them to death. They gave me love more than I could ever imagine. Built that faith foundation for me, but I always say I think we could have had more than what we had, and I'm grateful for what I had.
Right.
But yeah, what was the question? I get to.
It was good. It's good. I was saying with that, like, what made you decide
Oh yeah.
barbering
So, so,
was the
so
thing?
dad was cutting our hair because really couldn't afford to go to the barber shop.
Mhm.
So he started cutting our hair. He got some clippers from an auction for $5. And of course, as you can see, I've been rocking the same haircut since I was 16.
Yeah, man.
And so he cut it, and I had long like Justin Bieber hair at the time. So he cuts it off. My older brother hair, same thing, cuts it off. And so the second time around, when it's time for a haircut, of course, my dad didn't know anything about clippers and keeping them clean and oil on them or none of that. And like I said, $5 pair of clippers from an auction. So he cuts my hair. Luckily, I went first. He cuts my hair. Phew, phew, phew. We're good. No lineup, no nothing. Goes to cut my older brother's hair. And bro, the clippers are really like pulling my brother's hair out, my older brother.
Oh,
And it's
man.
the first time ever, bro, that I saw my older brother Brad so mad. I thought he was going to fight my dad. Like he was crying mad tears. Like, when you get so mad and you crying. And
Yeah.
my dad was laughing the whole time is what made it worse. So anyway, I told myself after that, I said, yeah, I gotta find some clippers. I gotta figure this out. So bro, got on YouTube, learned how to work clippers, put some oil on them, and that same pair of $5 clippers, bro, is what I started cutting my hair with. And then had a couple of homeboys, gave them even Stevens, not even no lineup, bro. And then man, it just kind of kicked off from there. One of my partners, man, Adam Jones. I think I was
Batman Jones?
that's his nickname, Pac-Man Jones.
No,
Adam.
it ain't. That's crazy.
He's an MMA dude, and that's what we called him, Pac-Man. But yeah, Adam Jones, bro, he bought me a pair of clippers. I think I was 18, maybe 19, and kind of took off from there.
And so with that, like, when did you enroll in the barbering school? What was that process like of cutting, going
Yeah,
home? And you're not a business owner yet, but you're still, a apprentice looking and improving on that.
yeah. So by that time, I was 24, and I had already been cutting for 7, 8 years. So craft, I didn't know everything, but I was already pretty good. And I actually one of the best barbers in town, man. He was cutting on a porch downtown on
Mm,
7th Street, and I was just riding through with my wife, and I saw him up there, and just as a joke, I said, hey man, I'm gonna go home and get my clippers and cut next to you on the other porch. And bro, I think he took offense to it, and it was like, oh, you think you better than me? Then let's see about it. Go get them, blah blah blah. So I just rolled the window up, pulled off, and I told my wife, I said, "Hey, call your mom. I want to move up to Louisville and go to barber school." So, bro, I enrolled. We did. We moved in with her mom. Was living upstairs at her mom's house. Moved my whole family up there, and she was working at a fast food restaurant. And bro, I was going to barber school. And 24 years old, man, loved it. Loved everything about it. Had some wild moments, like my first day of school, bro, smoked weed like crazy. And my first day of school, my guy Corey Johnson. At the time, I was 24. I say he was probably around 40. And he walks back there, bro. I'm by myself, doing the little study paperwork. And he said, "Hey, man, you look high as hell."
Mm,
And I said, "Bro, I am." And he said, "Hey, man, just as serious as could be." He said, "Hey, man, you better do what I did." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Shoot, my first day I came in high, everybody was like, 'Man, you know Miss C's gonna piss test you. And if you piss dirty, you lose all your money.'"
damn.
He said, "Man, you better do what I did." He said, "Go tell her, hey, Miss C, I can't pass no test. Can I come back in 2 weeks?" He said, "That way you don't lose your money." Bro, and walked out. Well, I'm back there sweating bullets. I'm like, man, do I need to try to get through this day, not say nothing? Do I just need to go up there and tell her? Bro, 30 minutes goes by, I walk up to the front. Everybody's up. Mind you, I'm the only white barber out of 20. Now, we in the hood in Louisville.
Oh, what part of Louisville? Like South Central or?
It was, hold on. Uh, it was like on the West End. Golly, it's not, bro, it's not coming to me.
I'm gonna say, look, we from Orangeboro. I'm from
Uh,
Northern Kentucky. I'm not gonna know,
if
but
you
I
didn't,
just was curious.
26 and Broadway. There it
Okay,
is. 26 and Broadway. So, bro, I go up to the front and I said, "Miss C," I said, "I ain't gonna be able to pass no piss test today." I said, "I'm gonna have to come back in 2 weeks."
right.
She started rolling.
They done
Corey
set your
started
ass up.
rolling. The whole school started rolling.
They done set your ass up.
She- I'm not gonna piss test you, she said, "but I just don't want you coming here and smelling and looking like it." So, bro, that kind of set the tone right there.
Mhm.
Like, this is what I'm getting. I like the environment I'm getting into. I think it was just like a man. We're here to make you comfortable. And
Right.
bro, then there was other moments, bro, where people came in there with guns and literally, like probably 2 months after I've been there, we're watching the news inside the school, and man, live news, somebody had just got killed like 2 blocks away from where the school was.
Damn.
Right as the news is playing, bro, all the police on and the news people start running right there on the TV. The guy that got killed, his baby mama was in the hospital. Uh, thought she was about to have the baby. She was pregnant. Bro leaves the emergency room, comes back because she thought the murderer was at the scene. Starts shooting up, starts shooting everywhere, bro, and everybody takes off. Yeah, swear, true story, bro. I give you
Damn.
another story. I'll give you another story real quick, bro. I'm cutting another barber's hair, Benny, and
Mhm.
Benny, and they called me Silk up there. This woman that always came in the barbershop. She was an older lady. She said, "I give everybody nicknames. I got to think of one for you." So she called me Silky C. So everybody in there started calling me Silk. So I'm cutting Benny's hair, and he's like, "Silk, look out the window." And I look out there, man. There's this big dude out there, like trying to rub up on Miss C. She's cleaning the windows, and like he's trying to get like sexual and aggressive. And
Mm.
Benny, and of course, back then I was hot headed, temper, and they knew I didn't play no games.
Right.
And Benny was like, "Hey, man, you need to go out there and say something to that dude." And, young firecracker, they knew what would set me off. Bro, I played it cool. I walked out the door and I said, "Hey, man, can you back up a little bit?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Man, I've been watching you out the window, man. She's done pushed you off a couple times. Can you back up a little bit?" He's like, "Oh, you Mr. Tough Guy, huh?" I said, "Man, I ain't no tough guy." I said, "I'm just asking you to back up a little bit." He said, "I got you, tough guy." Bro, I just shut the door and went back in and started cutting Benny's hair again. Well, I had my back to the doorway and Benny was facing it. And he said, "Silk, look at the door." Bro, I look down. It's a red dot on Benny's chest. I turned,
Oh
dude,
shit.
literally, dude standing in the doorway with a pistol. I don't even know what it was, bro. It looked like a Desert Eagle. It was long. And bro, I turned Benny around to where the I was in between the gun and the chair. And literally, bro, I said, "You got two options. You either gonna pull," and I said a few choice words. I said, "You either gonna pull that MF or you gonna pull it up, put it up." Like, I'm testing him.
Right.
You either gonna pull it or put it up. Bro, about that time, I had gotten an argument the first week with a dude named Struggs because he took some chicken off my plate. They was having a cookout and he took some chicken off my plate. Again, I believe it's just another test. The only white dude there, you know, in the hood. So Anyway, there was 10 chairs on one side, 10 chairs on the other. Bro, Scruggs comes walking across, sticks a pistol up to the dude's head. He said, I advise you to put it up. Bro, dude dropped his gun, walked out. And I said, man, we all gonna die today. Dude never came back though.
Good thing. Motherfucker seem like he had shit to lose.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
just pull out you up on somebody for choice words, but
Hey,
that
there was
sound like Louisville though. Like
bro, there
that's
was and listen, I loved it. There was days like I said, my wife was working fast food. We only had one car at the time. Whole family was living up there. You know, we was surviving, doing what we needed to do. So there was days, man, where I had to walk from 26th Street to 41st, all through all the streets, man, like you would see on First 48. If you hear the streets on First 48, that's where I had to walk to get home. And literally, man, dude, they found a body in a house around the corner from us. But I always told myself, man, if I see a group of people, I'm just keeping my head down and keeping moving. I don't even want to look and make it seem like I'm meddling or any of that.
right.
But bro, the guys in school, listen, I'm telling you, I was with every type of dude in school, from the businessman to the drug dealer to all that. And bro, they all love me, and I love them. I can call them all right now. And bro, hey, you want to come stay where you need? Man, it was a family. I loved it.
And so with that though, you're balancing barbering school. You got your whole family up there, like you said. You know, you're living to make ends meet. How did that weigh on you mentally, especially as like a father, but the man of the house? Like, did that bother you? Did you have sleepless nights? Like, did how did that weigh on your mental status?
Well, be all the way honest with you, man. My wife held it down. Like, bro, my one sole focus was getting that certificate from school
Right.
and getting back home because I had already prayed about it. And I believe God was calling me back to Owensboro because Miss C told me, like, I think I went to school for 11 months. I think like the 8th month, there was another girl I was in school with, Monique, and she was really good. And Miss C was like, hey, I'll build a barbershop from the ground up if you and Monique want to manage it and be the barbers in it. And I had already prayed about it and felt like God was calling me back home to Owensboro, bro, to do something that the city had never seen. And so I believe that, like, when I came back home in 2013,
Mm-hmm.
bro, I think there was one, maybe two urban barbershops where all the black clients were going. And like, bro, you look at it now, there's shops all over Owensboro.
Yeah.
And, you know, I kind of used the social media platform way back then in 2013, was posting my cuts, started doing designs, all that different stuff. And bro, it just kind of took off. So uh I w- I got to give a shout out and I still think he's the best today. And, you know, of course, the competitor in me, I want to go toe to toe with him any day of the week, but I still think he's the best, Bryson Samuels.
Yeah.
And he's out, he's doing great. And, but that was the guy on the porch that tested me that day and said, hey, why don't you go get your clippers and come back? And man, that pushed me to go get my certificate, man, get my own shop, do the whole deal, man. And yeah, but wife held it down, bro. Like I said, my sole focus was on getting that certificate, getting back home and taking care of business.
And so you go from that, right? You go from you get the certificate, your wife's holding it down, you end up moving back here. What happens then?
Bro, we moved back. So we're living upstairs at her mom's house in Louisville.
Okay.
I, I graduate, we moved back, bro. I moved my family in the basement at my mom and dad's house.
Mm.
Bro, I came back with $60. And that was in October, November, somewhere around there. Football season. So Jason, my best friend, bro, was going to the gambling house betting on games. And bro, I wasn't betting on no games. I wasn't doing none of that stuff. Like I said, I had $60 to my name, and it was in a drawer at my mom and dad's house in the basement. So, bro, I had to sell my truck, my Suburban that I spent like $25,000 on, bro. I ended up selling it for like $5,000 just to get quick cash so I can pay school off because I had a balance left that we couldn't pay, and that was my way of being able to graduate.
Right.
So had $60 left, man, and J Mo went to the gambling house one day and the clock had just set back, which we didn't know. So he went in too early. And dude was like, hey, man, you can't be in here right now. You got to come back in an hour. And J Mo was like, oh, man, I didn't realize time set back, whatever. So I walked out. Well, he stayed in there for a few minutes. He came out. He's like, bro, you ain't going to believe this shit. I said, what? He said, man, you can't come back in here. I said, what do you mean? I said, man, I know everybody that comes in here. I said, he
Mhm.
doesn't see my face plenty of times. He's like, "Yeah, man." He said he don't know you, so he don't trust you, and you can't come back in here, bro. I had that $60. I said, "Hey, man." I said, "Tell me how to bet. I'm gonna pick whatever I need." So he told me how to bet a four teamer, bro. I took that $60. I took that $60, and within 2 months, I turned it to like $7,000. I hit like four teamers back to back weeks, all that stuff, and it was
Damn.
my way. Yeah, bro, it was my way. So I put that money back, put all the money back that I was cutting hair with because I was in the shop at headquarters, still living at mom and dad's. Bro, I ended up having like $11,000 in cash in this little iPhone box that I kept in the ceiling at my mom and dad's basement. And man, bought a car and then moved us into a house literally right around the corner from my mom and dad's house. And yeah, man, that's how it worked.
That's
So,
crazy.
like, I had no plans of betting him, man, just because the dude kind of just made me feel like I didn't belong.
Brought
I
that
said,
competitor out in you.
"Yeah,
Hell yeah. That'll always do it, man. Like, especially when somebody just look at you, is like, you can't do that. It's like, oh, well, now I'm about to show you I can do that, but I can do a whole lot more
yeah,
behind that as well.
yeah." Well, and there's two things, bro. I always say there's two things that will make me flip the script the easiest, and I've gotten better over the years because learn patience. You know, you get older, you got to deal with some things. But two things that piss me off more than anything is making me feel less than and making me feel stupid.
Right.
I don't want to feel less than nobody, and don't try to make me feel stupid either.
I feel that 110%. So from working at headquarters, because I remember seeing you at headquarters like one time.
Yeah.
That was it. And I never really got haircuts there, but I got one haircut there one time at that point in time. Now we'll get to the other side of things. But the first time I really remember meeting you, completely opposite person, right, than who you are now. And
Oh,
I
for
just
sure.
remembered you as Chad. That's
Yeah.
all I remember you. Um, but you're cutting with Bryson and Jermaine after, right?
Yep.
What was that experience like?
At that time, because of the life I was living,
Mm,
bro, loved it. Like, still partying, bro. We was cutting hair, taking barbershops full. We're talking about, in my opinion, we're talking about the three best barbers at the time in the city,
I have
all
to
in one
agree.
shop.
Yeah.
And bro, shop stayed packed. We got DJ booth in there with big speakers like we're in the club, music's playing, doors open, couch. I mean, the whole nine. Bro, we're taking in the middle of people sitting in there and getting haircuts. We're going to the back in the hallway or outside, smoking blunts, drinking buzz balls, bro, and just
That was a
like, bro,
thing then. Y'all
yeah,
still had
bro.
bird balls?
Hey, bro, them little
Damn.
buzz balls.
Yeah,
Hey, bro.
yeah.
So I tell people like there's a musician right now, Coke Graves. He's done transferred over to like more like the new style of country and stuff. Like he can do any genre. Dude's amazing with music.
So he's more like
But
a jelly roll.
little bit, yeah. He so he signed with Timberland, the producer that like
Mhm.
the big famous producer. He signed with him like 2 years ago, maybe. And then he just recently separated and got on his own and got with some other guys. And he just did a video a couple days ago with Young Buck. Dude's the
Okay.
truth. But he sat in my chair, man, in headquarters and got his hair cut and spit a freestyle for me. And I told him then, I said, man, you are it. Like, you got to keep going with this. But he did his first music video. It's on YouTube. Uh, at at the barbershop, which is now my training facility. But yeah, the video's on YouTube and I'm in there vibing. You know how it was back then.
Mhm. And I was
Yeah.
gonna say, with that, I remember, the first time you cut me up was not only because and this is a damn funny ass story, and I really don't wanna tell it, but you might as well. I got to
Yeah.
because before you started cutting my hair, Jermaine was like my go-to barber.
Mm.
Bryson was always the guy that was like, "You got to pay $100 to sit in this chair." Ain't nobody paying $100 to sit in that chair. I
Yeah.
love Bryson, but he was out of his mind at that
Yeah.
point in
Yeah.
time. And so I remember Jermaine was like our go-to guy. You know, my grandma used to always send me in there. And one day, he's cutting my hair, man. And it's a big dude. Like he's my size, a little bit shorter, but he's my size as far as
Yeah.
like you look like office lineman. And he's cutting my hair, bro, eating a Subway sandwich. This motherfucker dropped. mayo, tomatoes, pickle, onions. He dropped a damn holy trinity on my fucking head. He dropped
Hey,
a
bro,
damn, he dropped a big boy through the garden on my shit pretty much.
and
Um,
know there was some slobber attached to
hey,
that.
come on, bro. That's why my hair grew thick. You see my hair thick. I ain't gonna never ball, hopefully, God willing.
Yeah,
But thanks to Jermaine and that damn mayo, it's gonna stay strong. Um, but yeah, I remember that happened, bruh. And I went home and he did this shit. And you know how y'all's barbershop used to be packed. Like
yeah,
standing room only, y'all got
yeah,
DJ booth, music playing. This nigga does that in front of a packed Friday crowd, dog.
yeah.
And everybody's looking around like, man, I know this nigga didn't just try.
Plus, plus you're still in high school too.
Nah, I wasn't in high school yet. I was still a youngin. I
Oh,
was still a youngin. Huh?
you was in middle school then?
Yeah, I was still in middle school. That's
Yeah,
when me and Jerron used to just come up to Orangeburg for the summers.
yeah, okay,
Yeah. And then when I started coming to you was my 8th grade year
yeah,
because I had to fire his ass for doing that. And then he did me worse freshman year of high school because y'all was still kind of cutting together at that point. And I remember he cut all my damn hair off. Listen to
man.
my cousins, man. I had the junior for my wife and kids. Like,
Hey, bro, he was famous for that. Like, if you said he was good, now
mhm,
whatever haircut he gave you, it was gonna be good, but it might not be the haircut you want, but it was
on
gonna
me,
look good.
on me,
But like you said, if you go in there with a fro, he might just decide that day, hey, I want to give him a ball fade.
man.
Ball fade gonna be clean, but it ain't what you want.
Man, my shit wasn't even Steven all over, bro. I had the Neo. It looked like he spit shine my shit. I ain't
Yeah,
gonna lie. It was that bad.
yeah.
But I remember switching over to you
Hmm.
um at that point in time and was strong. That's kind of where we started building our bond, I would say. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I've always been that person like very not shy, but like to myself until I
Close.
get comfortable with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Closed
Yeah.
mouth. I want to understand, who you are as a person and get to know you that way. But then I remember you're a Cowboys fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. It's kind of how that all kicked off. Jermaine leads a shot, right? You end
Hmm.
up taking over, and it becomes CMO's in 2015, if my memory serves me
Yep.
correct. And how pretty much how for you did your mind shift from being assistant barber just sharing a shop to now you're running your own thing.
Well, it the crazy thing is, like I said, man, we was all nobody played a bigger role or lesser role. We was all doing craziness.
Hmm.
But it came down to the fact that Jermaine and Bryson were the owners at the time, and they wasn't paying the rent. So I come in one day, and the manager of the whole complex, he's like, "Hey, man, y'all are like $1,300 behind on rent." And I said, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, man, they ain't been paying it." I said, "Look, man," I said, "I've been giving them booth rent." I said, "I got to have somewhere to cut. This is my livelihood. It's how I take care of my family."
Mm.
He said, "All right, I'm gonna have to talk with them." He said, "But the landlord from Florida, he wants to put y'all out today." So, bro, literally, they come in and they call landlord. Landlord's like, "No, y'all got to get out today."
Oh damn.
Bro, I go home and I'm sitting on the bed, nightstand sitting next to me, and I sat right there, bro, and I prayed like, God, I know this ain't what I know you got more than this for me. So, bro, I went back to the complex and asked if I could call the landlord. Called the landlord and I said, "Look," I said, "I've been paying my booth rent. They just ain't been able to pay the shop rent. Is there any way that like we can add the balance to the end of the payment, like add $50 or $75, whatever, and I'll pay it and I'll cover it?" And she said, "You got to get a note from the owners that they're not going to be cutting there, and I'll let you take over it." Bro, I walked out of that door, and as I'm walking out, Jermaine's pulling up, and he signed the note, bro, and I just took over from there. So it was kind of like a nowhere to turn. This
Right.
is it, yours, and take care of it, bro. Never had owned my own shop. Never like, bro, didn't take no business classes or nothing. But here's what I am great at, and I think this is what people miss out on as people, as business people, as coaches, the whole nine. Relationships.
Absolutely.
Love the people first. If you can love the people first, you don't got to have a background of business. You don't got to have a background of any of the stuff that they tell you got to have. All that stuff's great. but you don't have to have it, bro, if you can just love people.
Right. I'm gonna say that plus like just knowing people as well, just connection building,
Yeah,
building connections. Like you don't
yeah,
never know like in your example, you're starting out 2015. You don't never know. You might have to call somebody that knows the owner of the complex and they vouch for you on something like, hey, Chad, a good guy. He's trying to run his own business. You can't fault him for what the other guys were doing.
right.
So you don't never know who you're gonna meet, you
Yep.
know. So it's crazy how, like you said, loving people and understanding people, but also building that portfolio of connections can do so much for you.
Well, as you know, you said it earlier, and to touch back on that, bro. Living in Louisville, going to barber school,
Hmm.
I was driving home every single weekend and cutting hair in my mom and dad's basement on Saturday nights. I would get home. We got out early, so I would get home around like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Owensboro time,
Hmm.
and bro, I would cut till 11 o'clock at night. Cut it off at 11 o'clock at night, and then I was out at the club by 12. But
Yeah.
I built a clientele. They knew that I was coming home. I was driving that 2 hours every weekend to come home and make sure that they got their hair cut. And then I was going back to Louisville on Monday and doing it all over again the next Saturday, bro. I did that for 11 straight months.
Mm, that's crazy, man.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy times. So with that, you go from CMO's 2015. That's yours. You own the shop. We've
Mhm.
spent many hours in there, cracked many jokes, saved my hairline on multiple occasions. You know,
Yeah.
this is kind of back to where it's supposed
Yeah.
to be. It used to be back here,
Hey, it,
which
it
is
looks good. It's back where it's supposed to be.
yeah, man. Maybe I'll insert a picture, man. Shout out to my uncle Aaron, man, for keeping it where it need to be. But I might have to throw that picture in there where I look like Bert and Ernie.
Hey, man.
Uh, oh God, I look like
They
Bert and
they
Ernie.
they gonna cancel your podcast immediately.
They better not off that one. Nah, hopefully that one that's should be the one to send it through the roof. They'll be like, look at
Yeah,
this little fat motherfucker. Look at
yeah,
him. Look at him right here.
yeah,
But with that, you cut hair. You was like LeBron James in
yeah.
terms of how long you cut, the longevity of you cutting. You decided to hang them up.
Man,
What went into that? Like, what was the mindset on? I ain't got the same love I'll have for it.
bro, here's the crazy thing. It took forever. Like, there was probably I didn't quit. I didn't retire. I don't like saying quit. I didn't retire until 2025, but there was probably a 5 to 7 year span where I was just out of love with it. I was ready to be done with it. I think, of course, God is what kept me behind that chair because every time I wanted to be done with it and move on and try something else and or do this or do that and got into coaching, was coaching youth sports and was doing different stuff and hey, I'll just get a regular job or and bro, God just kept putting me behind that chair for whatever reason. And bro, I just believe it was build me into being the entrepreneur I am now and the businessman I am now. But bro, I wanted to quit that thing every day. I just felt I was so good at like still good now. I joke with I cut Chaden's hair yesterday and joked with him. I said, dude, I said, man, I could pick these things right back up right now and
Hmm.
still be one of the best in the city. And I believe I can go anywhere in the country and still be one of the best. But when you don't love something, you don't want to show up for it. You make every excuse to try to get out of it. And really, for 2 years, this is the crazy thing. For about 2 years straight, I only cut on Fridays and Saturdays. Made enough to pay my bills, bro. I was big on smoking weed, which was another thing that set me back. You know, I ain't gonna bullshit. It set me back. I was smoking like crazy, so I made enough money to help pay bills and to make sure I had some weed. And most of the time, I didn't even have enough money for that because I was smoking so heavy. I was borrowing weed from the weed man, and the next week on Friday, cutting 13 heads, paying him back, and then getting some more weed. It just a constant, circle.
No doubt. And so you go from that. What made you flip your mindset to say, okay, I'm great at coaching, I'm great at being a barber, but now I want to be a personal trainer?
Yeah,
And we know that this shook the walls of Orangeboro because it's
yeah,
like this motherfucker was just a barber last week. He trying to step in our realm.
yep,
And I'm not a Facebook beef guy, but just tracking it and seeing like people speak ill will without even knowing the person is kind of sickening. So
yeah.
what made you say I want to be a personal trainer? And what made you say, I'm about to change the shop and this is what I want to do in my life?
Well, I'd never intended on being a barber. It
Mm,
was just something that I found out that I was good at. And it started out as a means of survival because my dad couldn't afford it and I didn't want my dad tearing my head up. So, hey, I'm going to figure this thing out on my own. And then when I figured out I was good at it, that brought money and brought attention, which both things I loved at the time. Okay. I got a way to make money and I got a way to get people's attention. And, the girls are loving me. People's coming to get haircuts. I'm making them look good. So the girls are loving them, man. And as a barber, when you got all that, you just blow up. So the attention was great. All that was great. And, but I remember my senior year, I wrote down when they asked, what do you want to be after you graduate? And it was a PE teacher and a coach. And the crazy thing is, it's all come back around because I'm not a PE teacher, but what I do is basically train people,
physical therapy, yeah.
Yep. Yep. So, and I was able to coach youth sports, coach high school, coach middle school, did all that stuff. But bro, just falling out of love with the barber game. And I said, and there was multiple times I got pictures that I posted that I moved weights and weight bench and mats in the back of the shop when it was a barber shop. Like, man, I'm going to try to start this thing. And just, bro, going back and forth and not trusting God and just wasn't right timing, really. God always does it when it's supposed to be. But finally, after about a year, maybe 2 years of just constantly praying and like, God, I'm ready to be done with this. Will you let me move on? Let me move on. And one day, bro, I'm in my prayer room, which is a shower, and I'm praying like, God, I don't want to do this no more. Like, I know you've been telling me to do it. I know you've been putting me behind the chair, but I'm ready to be done with it. Like, I'm ready to move on. And all I heard was him say, go all in, then get certified. So, bro, I bought uh I bought the curriculum.
Hmm.
I I don't even really be honest with you, bro. I can't remember where the money came from, but it wasn't that I had saved money. It wasn't that, because like I said, I was still making money to try to make ends meet. I wasn't really cutting hair a whole lot.
Right.
I think at the time when I retired, I think I was working like 4 hours a day for like 3 or 4 days a week. And just that's how bad I didn't want to do it anymore. But I was just trying to make ends meet. But somehow, anyway, I got the curriculum, bro, and I told myself, I said, I'm not going to take this final test until I've been through the whole curriculum and I can pass the practice test and get at least a 80 on it because I think it was a 72 or a 74 that you had to get in order to pass the test. So I said, if I can get an 80 constantly, I'm good to go. Bro, first test, 76. I said, all right. Next test, 75. I said, all right. Bro, next test, 69. I said, oh, hold up.
Mm,
68, 63, 71. And I'm like, no, man, this is what you told me to do. So I get back to the prayer room. God, like, this is what you told me to do. Why am I not getting better? Like I read the whole curriculum. I didn't skip anything, done what I was supposed to do. How come I'm not retaining this knowledge? And bro, I just heard you need to study harder. And bro, literally, I got out of the shower, pulled my phone up because that's where the curriculum was. Bro, I did not know that there was like practice tests and that you could take. What's some things called study guides,
yeah, there you go.
bro. I had skipped the whole thing of study guides. So bro, I started studying them. Next thing you know, 83, 86, 88, bro. And I told myself when I get 580 or aboves in a row, so I finally did, bro. And I said, all right, I'm going to take his test. And, bro, smash that thing.
That's man. And so from that point on, how much did you have to like invest in transforming the shop? And how was building the clientele? Was the clientele already waiting on you, or did you have to kind of start with one kid and it turned into 10?
So I think through me coaching youth sports,
Hmm.
me being a barber, having all the connections, bro, me coaching middle school, me coaching high school. And bro, I had done the training thing. Like I trained my son since he was 7 years old. All of
Right.
his life I've been his trainer. And like there were different times where I would train kids with him for free. And then I would train certain kids that played youth football. I trained them for free. And I do all this. And of course, bro, I worked out all my life. I got one of my best friends, Ken. I was his trainer. Bro, we started the dungeon together in his garage, built a garage gym and was just going at it. So I think this was just all these things were constantly, God was working together to get to this moment. And when I actually started training, I was still a barbershop and started training when I didn't even have my license yet, and I was training out of my garage.
Right.
And I think I had, I want to say 10, maybe 10 athletes coming over to my garage at my house training. And I was already calling it the lab. Well, then of course, bro, like Chaden, he was training. People were seeing his results. A girl named Aubrey Randolph at Catholic, she started training with me and seeing her results. Xavier Conrad training with me, results. And I think, you just using the social media. Everybody, I often hear, Chad, you post too much on social media, blah, blah, blah. You post your son too much. Bro, listen, they never told Pizza Hut to quit making commercials. We
Right.
just we just watched the Super Bowl. The same commercials that we've been seeing for the last 20 years, the same commercials they're still showing. So if you want to be seen, you got to advertise.
Yeah, marketing is key.
Yeah, no matter who don't like it, bro, I'm just gonna keep on showing it. It's gonna be in front of your face, and if you don't like it, then hit the unfollow, unfriend, or whatever you need to do. But bro, my good friend Ken, man, bro, always had my back. Darkest days, good days, bad days, bro. Always, bro. There were days I was getting high in my bathroom, and he would come over from working 2 jobs, bro. The dude worked. He was the manager of the deli at Foodland on 25th. Then he would go work another job, bro, and he would still come over and mow my grass, knowing that I was in the house smoking weed. Bro, took care of me. Then we get the gym. He's like, bro, whatever you need. We actually got 4 mats. I got 4 mats in the gym right now that came from his garage that we started in 2014.
Mm,
And bro, I cleaned everything out of the garage, pressure washed it, sprayed it down, chemically cleaned it all, bro, moved it all into the gym. And then piece by piece, he was like, hey, man, what you need? I'll buy this. What you need? I'll buy this. So he bought like 4 or 5, like, bro, he bought big stuff, like the mats, super expensive, bought those. He bought me my first set of plates. And be honest with you, we had the storm come through,
mhm,
storm and some different things where I got some insurance money back. And bro, just literally on faith, bro, I took that money and put it toward the gym, and then the gym made me money back to be able to put back for that insurance money to get my house and all the stuff done that I needed to do. So like my car got damaged, all that stuff. Like, bro, it was just, I know everything that had to happen. I know only God could do it.
right.
And bro, you know, once it got started, bro, boom. Like still today, I think within 3 weeks of me opening up, I had 20 something people on the wait list, completely full schedule. Within 2 months of me opening up, I was up to 75 people on the wait list. I cut the wait list off then, got back down now to like 63 people. And April will be a year since I've been open.
Yeah. So what does the year anniversary look like for the lab?
So, bro, grind. Uh, ain't nothing to celebrate yet. I'm grateful. Listen, I'm grateful. I'm blessed. But listen, I just told Chaden this the other day. I call it the Tom Brady mentality. Tom Brady does not have 7 rings for no reason. I watched interviews and times that he's talked with certain people, and he said he found a way to use everything for fuel. And I told Chaden the other day, when people tell me, "Hey man, I see your little business is doing good," pay attention to that little word.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey man, I see your small business is doing good. Hey man, I like your little gym you got. All right, keep on saying that because all you doing is fueling the fire, baby. Because I'm going to show you, and I ain't just going to show you. I know what God's told me. And bro, I really believe 2026, summer of 2026, this thing's about to double or triple in size. God's gonna, and I believe God's gonna do it. I believe He's gonna provide everything financially. And I've been praying. This is the kind of faith you gotta have. I've been praying for God to give me the land, to give me the pole barn, and to furnish everything inside it debt free.
Mm. So do like various like grants, things like
Bro,
that, or
I don't know. We've talked about it before. I told you. I said somebody might
mhm,
show up at my doorstep and say, "Hey man, here's $85,000."
true. You just
God
know
gonna do
that
it,
ain't El Chapo, but
man. Yeah,
yeah, nah, for sure.
yeah. So I think you gotta have. I call it crazy faith, and I always tell the story about the woman who had the issue of blood for 12 years in the Bible, bro. And I've listened to this story multiple times, but I've never told it this way because I hadn't heard it told this way until about 2 weeks ago. Damon Thompson, pastor that helped me when I was in my darkest stage, depression and stuff, and that's what still listen to him. And I finally got to see him in person last January, bro, and changed everything for me even more. But the woman with the issue of blood had to fight through a crowd in order to get to Jesus, and she told herself, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, I'd be healed. Bro, the guts that it takes to even fight through the crowd with the thought that she may not even be able to get to him, the guts that it took after 12 years of having an issue of blood, that what made her think that even just one touch of a garment could change her life. And this woman went and touched Jesus, and Jesus said, who touched me?
Right.
The woman was healed. She said, I did. And Jesus said, you've been healed. This is how Damon Thompson put it. Not only did the woman touch him, Jesus is Jesus, so he knows all. And he's been around this crowd all day, which he's been bumped into several times by several different people. So he's been touched all day. But when that woman touched the hem of his garment, it stopped him in his tracks. And he turned around and he said, who touched me? Bro, I want to live my life in a way that not only Jesus touches my life, but that I live my life in a way that Jesus says, hold on, did Chad just touch me? You got to have that insane faith, bro, that you're willing to go through whatever, do whatever, overcome whatever obstacle, whatever adversity. And you got to go after Jesus with everything in you to say, hey, I'm going to stand on faith and he's going to provide everything I need. I just need to touch the hem of his garment. I don't got to see him. I don't got to look him in the eyes. I don't need to hug him. I don't even need to ask him for healing. I don't even need to ask him for anything. I just need to touch what he's wearing.
Absolutely. And so, as we know, like, not them, but like as I know, faith is a major part on how you move daily, how you operate, how you go into battle.
Mm-hmm.
Let's dabble a little bit into that. You just celebrated the anniversary, February 11th. What
Yep.
happened on the February 11th? Kind of go into depth. Tell us what was going on. What was you thinking?
Yeah, February 11th, 2019. For about, bro, I have been dealing with stuff. Like I said, bro, people dying early, a lot of death in my life. I experienced a lot of death early, like crushed me, absolutely crushed me. Grandpa was my best friend. He
Right.
died when I was in high school. Like I said, uncles died. My grandpa, my dad's dad died when I was like 8. So just like a lot of early death, bro, a lot of funerals, and just really never, like, it's something I became used to, so I really never dealt with it on a personal level. Just,
Hmm.
you know, bottled it all up. And then, once I got into partying, well, my way to feel better was the girls and the alcohol and the weed and all that stuff. And so, bro, it took over my life. And there came a point where, like, I wanted to change. I wanted to quit hanging with everybody that I was hanging with that was partying and drinking and smoking. So that's what I did. So I secluded myself to the bathroom. And at the time, my wife was smoking and everything, and she decided to quit. So I think she quit in like August. So, bro, from August till February, I'm in the bathroom just smoking my life away. Literally, I tell people, like, we got 24 hours in a day.
Hmm.
I was probably in the bathroom 15 hours a day, sleeping 4 hours a day, and then doing everything else, you
Hmm.
know? So it was just constantly in that little, like, bro, space, small space, just smoking and just going through it, man, dealing with life and shame of past mistakes and sin, and knowing that I needed to do better and God was calling me to better, bro. I think that's really, I tell people now, like, shame and guilt is from the devil.
Hmm.
Conviction is from God. Shame
Right.
and guilt's gonna say, "Hey, I told you was wrong. I told you was bad." Conviction's gonna say, "Hey, come here. I love you. I want you to be better."
Right.
So, bro, just the devil was just constantly in my mind telling me how bad of a person I was. Nobody loved me anymore. Like, bro, nobody's checking on you. You know how, bro. The
Hmm.
devil wants you to think that you're by yourself and nobody cares about you.
Right.
So, bro, I was getting these feelings every now and then, like, bro, like full body tingling, like, bro, just insane. but I would always get in the shower, my prayer room, and I'd start praying, like, God, take us away. I play my worship music, and after a little bit, it'd go away. 4 o'clock in the morning, February 11th, 2019, bro, I wake up. Soon as my eyelids open, I just hear the devil telling me to kill myself
Mm,
and scared the shit out of me. So, bro, I get up, get in the shower, play my worship music. I'm in there singing, I'm praying, asking God to help me take this feeling away. And, bro, I had never felt it that powerful.
right,
And this is 4 o'clock in the morning. By 6:45 a.m., it still hadn't left. My wife had already got up, had already got dressed, and was going to leave for work at 7. She was leaving at 6:45. And as she's heading to the front door, I said, "Hey, you can't leave me here by myself." And she said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You can't leave me here by myself." I said, "I don't know what this feeling is, but it ain't good." And she said, "Well, we need to go to the hospital then." And bro, I gave in quick. Usually, I'm not a hospital guy, but I knew I needed something.
right.
Went went to the hospital, hooked me up to all the machines and wires and all this stuff. And doctor comes back in, and he's like, severe depression, chronic anxiety. I had told him that I was having suicidal thoughts for like 2 or 3 months. And I like to clarify this, and I don't know if I did this good enough in our last talk,
Yeah,
but when I say suicidal thoughts, it wasn't that I wanted to kill myself. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to take these pills or I'm going to go jump off a bridge or shoot myself. It was just the devil telling me to kill myself, that I didn't matter to nobody, that you just need to go ahead and kill yourself. That's what scared me the most. And it was just a constant beatdown to the point of that day, I felt like he was going to win and I needed some help. So, doctor comes back in, tells me all that stuff, panic attacks. And he said, "Hey man, I want to prescribe you this medication." And I said, "I'm not taking no pills." I said, "Man, there's no difference in me taking pills and smoking a blunt." And he said, "Well, you smoking weed is probably heightening up all your symptoms." And my wife's standing right there and she said, "I don't care what you want. I'm going to go get the medicine and we'll go from there." And doctor's like, "You need to take this medicine if this happens again, or you may not be around much longer."
mm,
And bro, still kind of being hard headed, like, it's not that I'm against it. I believe that God can use anything he wants to use to help anybody. But where I was and where I am in my faith is, God, if you said you can take it away, you can take it away. I don't need no medicine. I don't need any of that stuff. God, I want it to be you, because at the end of the day, I don't want it to be the medicine that gets the glory. I want it to be God that gets the glory. I want to be able to tell that God took it away from me. So I left the hospital, bro. Wife goes to Kroger's. I go in the house, get the rest of my weed out of the drawer, go to the toilet where in the bathroom where I always smoke at, drop down to my knees, flush the weed down the toilet. And I said, "God, if you'll just help me, if you'll just help me quit and take this away from me, I'll live the rest of my life for you." And bro, just all of a sudden, just this feeling of like, it was almost like, I got you, I hear you. And I tell people, like, I had flushed weed down the toilet plenty of times, whether I was scared that the police was at the door, just too paranoid, or, hey, I'm going to quit tonight, so I'm going to smoke everything I got. And God knows the heart. So I believe he knew, like, okay, Chad's ready to change. Like, he is at a point to where it's like make or break, and he's ready to change. Because all the other times, bro, I microwave faith. I'm saying it just to hurry up and feel better, or just to hope that the police ain't at the door and I ain't getting in trouble.
right.
So, bro, just saying it. God help me. God, if you'll take his feeling away from me, I'll quit smoking today. He'll take it away from me, and the next day I'm going to buy another pack. You know. So, but bro, February 11th, 2019, walked out of that hospital, went home, flushed that weed, said the prayer, and God took it from me, bro. The pills my wife went and got, the medication she went and got at Kroger, she comes back home, puts them in the medicine cabinet in that same bathroom. 2 years later, we bought our first house, and that's the first time I ever laid eyes on those pills. I took them out of the medicine cabinet and threw them in the trash can. God took away all the suicidal thoughts, the depression, the anxiety, panic attacks, the whole nine, and I haven't smoked since February 2019. Just celebrated 7 years.
That's amazing, brother. I was gonna
God,
say, and I know this story far too well. But I don't ever think that, like you said in our first conversation, like the emphasis on what you were feeling at the time. I remember like you saying it as your testimony,
yeah,
but going deeper into depth and hearing about it. Yeah, nah, for sure. Like God definitely got his hands on you, brother. And your story is gonna touch like millions of people. Like I always tell you that it don't necessarily even have to be this podcast, but it could be somebody that you inspire in Hornsboro that turns out to be the next, I don't know, the next movie star, the next
Yeah.
biggest athlete, but they remember that. So yeah,
And
man.
I think that's, I just told somebody this today at my nephew's birthday party. A young gentleman, it's actually my sister-in-law's little brother, and he's like 20. He's going to nursing school in Louisville, and he was talking about that he's done some intern stuff at River Valley.
Mhm.
And they've dealt with some family issues or whatever, but and I don't want to tell, but it was like, River Valley's different. You're around some different people, you're around some chaos, whatever. And he's like, man, I might want to do that. And his mom's like, nah, something. My dad's like, some things ain't worth the money. And mom's like, nah, you need to, work in the hospital or whatever. And I told him, I said, man, do you know I get the most gratitude and I feel the best when I help people who are going through what I've been through. You will never get more satisfaction. And it don't have to be that you went through depression and suicide. Whatever you've been through in life, you will find the most satisfaction in helping somebody that's going through what you've been through.
Right.
And the reason that you've been through it and have gotten through it is because they always say, once you reach up to the top of the mountain, don't be afraid to stick your hand back. And my motto is, I don't never want to get too high that when I reach back, I don't feel anybody's hands.
Absolutely.
Because then you put yourself on a pedestal and you're not doing what God's called you to do originally. And you've put yourself on a pedestal that you're higher than everybody else.
Yeah. You start taking the credit. You start trying to do your
So,
own
so
thing.
I think that's what's allowed me to see potential and treasure. I like using, like, bro, when you was a senior in high school and we was coach, I said, hey man, I want you to come coach the offensive line with me on the Saints.
Yeah.
Back then, God's just giving me discernment. He's giving me wisdom. And bro, I've learned over the years, the last few years, that the title that I've believe he's given me that is being a room reader. And sometimes I don't even have to be in the room to be able to read it. Sometimes I can just read a text and know what's going on. Sometimes I can see it in people's eyes.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just know and I check on people and they'll say, man, how did you even know I was going through it? And God just gives me this ability to read it. But when I seen you, bro, and I just felt like God said, man, this young man needs to know that he has a treasure inside of him and that somebody believes in him. So I brought you on that offensive line staff, bro. And I really think that's where our relationship took off was, why does this dude just cut at the time, this dude just cuts my hair. Like he's my
Mhm.
barber. Why is he bringing me on to coach the O line?
Right.
And bro, we got to do that together. We experienced some bad losses, but again, one of the most rewarding wins because of how that season went, how the draft went, and how I felt like we were set up to fail. And bro, the team that we beat in the playoffs ended up being the guy who took over a team who was the commissioner of the league. He took over the team because he kicked that guy out of the league. And bro, we beat him in double overtime. The
I
Vikings.
know. Yeah, man. I was gonna say that was like the most like not unorganized by like the coaching staff, but like unorganized as a league.
Yeah,
And you had that plus the odds against you. You look at the roster and you look at the kids that we had. Like, bro, we had kids that were barely 5 feet, 98 pounds playing offensive line. And you look back on that, man, it's just like the odds was already stacked against you and you still go out there and you prevail.
yeah,
And it got real nasty. Like it even got to the point you had your own coaches against you. Like
yeah,
you already got the parents, but
yeah.
that's just youth football. That's how it
Right.
works. But then when you have the people that you entrusted also not being on the same page as you and questioning your logic and your practices, it's like Jesus Christ. Like how
Bro,
much more
we talked about it, and that playoff game. I said, "Hey, everybody off the sideline.
on
I'm
me.
gonna be the only one in here coaching."
On me. I was over there like that Drewski meme. I was like, me, me too. I can
Yeah,
lead. Like
yeah,
yeah. Nah, so that was weird, man.
yeah.
It was a great experience though. Like it kind of taught me even in that moment how like when I get the keys to my own ship, if I do decide to coach, how I want run it, run it. How do I want it to look? Um,
I'm gonna say this, and Lord, if I'm wrong, I'm okay with being wrong. But I feel like God told me this a long time ago. I didn't know when it was going to happen, and I don't know that it's going to happen soon. But you will be a coach.
We'll see, man.
I I seen it in you your senior year, and I still see it now.
Yeah, I be having to tell God, man, give me patience though, man, because
Yeah,
I'd be on that sideline like the bigger melanated version of Nick Saban.
but you won't. I mean, not saying that you won't have authority, not saying that you won't be tough,
Mhm,
but I know what you will be. You will be the same guy that sees treasure in other kids that nobody can see the treasure in
right.
because you've done been through it, bro. Nobody count, you went to we talked about it before. You went to Kentucky Christian.
Mhm,
Nobody believed in you. Nobody was watching your games, bro. You was sending me the live feeds. I was texting you every day, watching the games,
yeah,
and nobody knew who D'Artagnan Tinsley was. Then, oh, hold on. Here comes one Division One. Here comes another one. Here comes another one, bro. And we can tell that story over and over again, bro. And we can be here all day, and it's
mhm,
great. That's your story to tell.
right,
But bro, at the end of the day, you've done been to the place where nobody believed in you, to a place where everybody believed in you, to a place where everybody jumped on the bandwagon. See, there's a difference. There's a difference in everybody believing in you than everybody jumping on the bandwagon, because not everybody on the bandwagon believes in you. They're just on the bandwagon to see what they can get out of it.
right.
Hey, I know D'Artagnan Tinsley, man. That's my guy, man. He plays for the Cleveland Browns, you
Mhm,
know. And then when stuff don't work out the way that we had hoped they would work out, then it's time to jump ship and everybody gets off the bandwagon.
yeah,
But who still remains? The
mhm,
people that believed.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I always joke around, bro. I be saying, I know when people seen August the 24th, the Browns released D'Artagnan Tinsley. I said, I know they threw meat on the grill that day.
Oh,
There was probably a parade somewhere in Owensboro or deep down inside, but
yeah,
yeah, man. But it's the craziest part about it is even when you go through it and you go through the process and you get to your team, you get the fame and the notoriety, you can always tell based on how you're raised or your intuition on how you think as a person, you can always tell who's really with you and who's only here for X reason. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So coming home, like doing the interviews and doing all that stuff was great. But at the end of the day, I knew those same people weren't gonna come kick it at my granny's or call
yeah,
me in the middle of preseason. Like it's just the thing, and that's the part that comes with the monster at the time.
yeah.
So
But the thing is, you got to have those people.
yeah,
You got to have, because if you don't experience it now, you're not going to be set up for what God's trying to give you later.
right. And that's the thing. You don't never know what's next.
That's it.
And that's why I'm kind of at peace with it. Like
Yeah,
I tell people all the time, don't get it twisted. If somebody was a call, trust me, that beast is still there.
yeah,
He's just a tame beast currently. But
yeah,
um at the same time, I know what what other things I've been blessed with as well. And
yeah.
I have to extend those branches of my life as well. I can't just
The,
strictly throw all the eggs in one basket.
the story that Jesus tells, the parable that Jesus tells about the giving the gifts. He gave one talent, gave one 5 talents, gave one 10 talents. I could be wrong on how many he gave, but we're going to say it was 1, 5, and 10.
All right.
But the one with 10 talents came back with 20. The one with 5 came back with 10. The one with 1 came back with 1. And the one with 10 that came back with 20, he said, "You've multiplied. Here's more. Go make more." The one with 5 came back with 10. He said, "You've multiplied. Here's more. Go make more." The one with 1 came back with 1. He said, "Why do you still only have 1 talent left?" And he said, "Hey, I buried it so nobody could take it." He said, "Well, since you buried it, give it back to me and be gone from me. I don't know who you are."
Mm,
What are you doing with your talents?
right.
You may be just a person that has 1, or you may be the one that has 10, or anywhere in between there. But whatever you do with that 1 or that 10 or that 5, it all matters. And I don't believe that anybody is just given 1, because what the Bible tells us is, "I will make you like my son, and you will do great things, even greater than what my son has done." And we know all the stuff that Jesus has done because we read it in the Bible. So if Jesus has healed people, if Jesus has saved people, if Jesus was crucified on the cross and took all that, and God's telling me that I can do more than that, the reason why we ain't done more than that is because back to the woman with the issue of blood, we ain't got crazy faith to fight through the crowd to do it.
Right. I'm gonna say, let's get back on
Yeah, you
Bad
good?
Boys. We'll save this side of everything for my episode. We'll flip this around. I might
Yeah.
be the one on your end. You might be doing what I'm doing currently and just kind of moderating. But back on to the adversity side in your life. You had February 11th. Um, like you said, seventh year. You just went through another anniversary with it. Let's take a different approach. You've told me this story, and it was such a deep story that I was like, man, I got to ask him before I even bring this up to the audience and people watching. But you come to find out that the guy that you call dad or your father
Hmm.
isn't really your dad.
Right.
How does that impact Chad as a person? Did that make you kind of look at him differently, look at your family differently? Just kind of go into depth on that.
Yeah. So I think I'm 38 now. I think I was 30, 31, somewhere in there.
Hmm.
And I'm home sleep like 11:30 at night. And I believe I was still smoking at the time. I don't think I had quit smoking yet. But man, I get a phone calls, texts. I'm asleep. I don't even see them. I wake up, look at my phone, literally, bro, like 16 missed calls and all these texts from my brothers. And I'm like, I literally thought that my grandma had died. So I called my older brother and I'm like, hey, man, what's going on? And he's like, you need to call mom. I said, man, what's going on? You need to call mom. Bro, I hung the phone up on him, called my little brother. Man, what's going on? Man, you need to call mom. I said, man, y'all done been calling me, blowing me up. What's going on? Man,
Right,
you need mom. Hung up on him. Call my mom. Mom, what's going on? Oh, we ain't gonna talk about it on the phone. We'll wait till tomorrow. You can come over. I said, I ain't waiting till tomorrow. Y'all done got me up now. I said, I'm on my way over now.
right,
Bro, I get dressed, get up, go over, walk in, walk to the back dining room. My mom's sitting at one end of the table, my dad's sitting at the other end of the table, bro. And I can just see the look on my dad's eyes like he's been crying. I'm like, dang, man, my grandma, I'm like already bracing myself like, man, grandma done passed away. So I sat down and like I'm in the middle of the table. Mom's on one end, dad's on the other. Mom's like, look, we just want to tell you before anybody else tells you that he ain't your real dad. And bro, like, I don't really think there was a feeling. Like, it was kind of like, okay, what's next? And she was like, I know the guy lives in Owensboro. You know, me and your dad was into it. I had a one night stand, and you know, and my dad was like, look, I don't want nobody to know. Don't tell nobody. I don't want nobody to know, and I don't want my grandson to know. Like Chaden, my son, he said, I don't want him to know that I ain't his real grandpa. And you know, bro, dad loved Chaden to death, loves all of his grandkids, but Chaden was the first one, so you
uh,
know, loves him to death. He's like, I don't want him to know. So I told my mom, she was like, yeah, I know where the guy works at. And, you know, we can get a test or whatever. And I said, man, I said, I don't, and this was my literal words. I said, I don't give a damn if it was Michael Jordan. My dad's sitting right here. I said, this man's been taking care of me for the last 30 years. I don't need to know who nobody else is. My dad's right here.
right,
My dad just busts out crying, bro, like never seen him cry before, and gets up and hugs me. He's like, I love you, son, you know. And come to find out, like I said, bro, they, you know, mom had a one night stand and that almost got, you know, they almost divorced and different stuff. And bro, but I'm grateful. I think had I found out when I was a teenager, like the kind of life I was already living, the temper that I had, and all the craziness I was doing,
hmm,
man, I think I would have just flipped the script. But I think God ordained it to wait. You know, of course He did. But for me to find out at a later date, and really, bro, it just made my family stronger. Like I decided then, like I'm gonna put my toes in the ground. Like God, you want to do something through this, and bro, I don't even think about it. Like it don't it you know, when we talk about it, of course it crosses my mind, but like on a daily basis, like I can't sit here and say like, bro, even when I'm sitting by myself and just chilling at the house, nobody's around, wife's at work, Jaden's gone, bro, it don't never cross my mind. Like I don't think about it once. And I think it's a testament. That's why I told my dad, I said, oh, I'm gonna tell it. I said, this it don't happen. Like for 30 years, I did not know that you was not my real dad. And that's because you treated me just like you treated my brothers. And I've seen stepdads and I've seen, you know, men who are playing the role of dad treat their kids better than they treat the stepkids. And I never felt that. It never happened. So I said, man, this needs to be told, man. Like, you fought for me. I am who I am. And I told him, I said, at the end of the day, when Chayton puts that, when Morse goes on the back of that college jersey or on the back of that NFL jersey, it ain't going to be because of me. It's
Right.
going to be of a guy that held it down 30 years ago and played that role and played it well.
Absolutely. And so I imagine that only made you grow as a father because
Man,
love outweighs blood 7
that's
days a week. There could be
yep.
blood that stabs you in your back. Doesn't mean you have to trust and go back to them because if that happened once, 9 times out of 10, it's probably gonna happen again. But
And and here's the crazy thing: as I stood 10 toes down,
mhm,
and bro, just to be raw, real, and uncut, the devil tried to divide my family, not even through me. Bro, there started being disputes throughout my brothers and the girls in our, my wife and my brother's girls and wives. And bro, they started arguing. And like, so every Sunday we'd get together at my mom and dad's. That stopped happening. There were 3 or 4 Christmases, bro, that arguments broke out. And like, people, we had to leave. And bro, it's just wild and chaos. And bro, I went to that Damon Thompson in January, and Damon Thompson said, I'm speaking to the sons and the daughters. He said, I'm not necessarily saying children. I'm speaking to the sons and daughters who have continued to stand on faith, who have continued to show up in church, who have continued to pray and continued to done everything they know they need to do. And your mom and dad ain't even back in church. Your mom and dad don't even believe like they used to believe. And bro, it just hit me all over. I felt like he was talking directly to me. He said, so I raised my hand and just listened to him preach over my life, and accepting everything that he was saying. And at the time, bro, me and my wife, Chaden and Corey, were going to church constantly. We've been in church now 8 years, I think. This will be the 8th year. And bro, it was just us. Now it's me, my wife, Chaden, my mom and dad's coming. Both my brothers and their families coming. My cousin Dina's coming. My cousin Debbie got baptized in the church. My cousin Derek and Brittany recently started coming. Derek just gave his life back to God and is getting baptized tomorrow.
mm,
And bro, so what the devil tried to break up, God said, here, let me restore this thing 10 times over and show you what this is really about.
facts.
And if I could just one more quick story on it, uh, just because it bro, I just got to give God the credit, bro, and He gets the glory because it's truly been Him. There's nothing that I can do apart from Him, or I'd still be in that bathroom or dead. But my uncle, my dad's brother, Roger, recently passed away, and my brother called me. He was over there talking to my dad, like they called my dad to go see him because, like, hey man, this is getting bad. You need to go over and talk to him or whatever. My dad hadn't seen him in a while, and I don't think I had seen my uncle Roger in probably 8 years, maybe more. And my brother calls me. He was over at my mom and dad's house, and he was outside, and he said, "Hey man, dad's in there tore up. Like, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm just sitting here watching the game or whatever." And he's like, "Dad's tore up." Like he's talking about Grandpa Morris and life. And I said, it was just like I said, room reader. I said,
Mhm.
all right, man, I'll be over in a minute. Got dressed, bro, went over and walked in. I wasn't there nothing but maybe a minute or two. And man, dad looked up at me crying, fighting back tears. And he's like, will you go over and pray for him? He said, because I can't do it and I don't think nobody else can. And bro, I told you this before, but it was like when I knew God sent me in your grandma's living room that day,
Right.
I knew God was sending me in his house that day. And my mom even looked at me and she said, Chad, you know the circumstances and you know the situation. You know what you're going into. Just pray about it. And the reason why she said that is because I was going to my dad's side of the family, the side that had kind of turned against my mom because of the situation with me and really didn't talk to me very much. And, you know, so I said, I've already, they had already made their assumptions and told everything. They told the story before I even got to tell my own story, basically. I said, I'm still going. God's sending me. And bro, I walk in, and really, bro, as soon as I walked in the door, they hugged me, loved me, told me they was proud of Chaden and him going to college and everything that we've done together. And I go back to my uncle's room, bro, and I walk in the room and he turns and looks at me. He's in a hospital bed, got the wires on him and stuff, and he's still able to talk. And he's like, and literally, bro, He said, I've been waiting on you.
Mm.
He didn't even know I was coming. Nobody told him I was coming. He said, I've been waiting on you. So I walked over, grabbed his hand, stood right up against the bed, and I said, "Hey man, I love you, Uncle Roger." He said, "I love you too." "I'm so sorry." I said, "Man, you ain't got nothing to be sorry about." I said, "Man, we've all done stuff. We've all sinned. We all knuckleheads." I said, "I've done some of the worst stuff that people can do." I said, "And God loves me, and He loves you just as much as He loves me, and He loves everybody in this room." And he looked at me and he said, "I just want all the hate out of this room. I want all the hate out of my heart. I don't want no more hate. I just want only love." I said, "God loves you, man." I said, "Can I pray for you?" He said, "Please." So prayed for him, God, whatever your will is, you know, love him, give him peace, give him joy in the circumstances, prevent the devil, protect us from the devil, protect all of us in this room from the devil, just went on in my prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. So, bro, the room's crowded. I stepped back into the doorway out of the way because, like, I don't want to be the center of attention. I want
Right.
everybody. So my uncle's talking, bro, and he brings up my mom, and he said, "Man, Peggy was good to me. Peggy's mom was good to me. Nights I was out drinking at the bars and coming home late and coming to mom's, they was outside waiting on me, checking on me, looking for me, making sure I was okay." And my aunt on my dad's side, she said, "Yeah, they was good to you." And like, bro, he raised up a little bit out of his bed and his eyes got big. And he said, "No." He said, "When people do that for you, that's how you know who loves you." And it was just kind of I felt like it was a way of him saying, like, all the rumors and all the stuff that she did and whatever she did to dad, like all the stuff y'all are saying, she was a good woman to me. She's been a good woman to us. She's been a good woman to my brother.
Hmm.
So I'm standing there in the doorway, and he leans up and looks around the person that's standing in front of me, and he says, "Can you come back over and pray for me?" Well, in the meantime, all that talking, he said, "I want Jesus. I want Jesus to come into my heart." So he looks around, says, "Hey, will you come pray for me again?" I walked back over and grabbed his hand. I said, "Uncle Roger, did you say that you want Jesus to live in your heart?" He said, "Yes, I want him to live in my heart." I said, "All right, let's pray." And I prayed. I said, "God, he has confessed it with his mouth, and you know his heart. And we are all believing that he just accepted your son Jesus as his own personal savior, and that whatever happens from this day forth, we will see him in heaven. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your grace and your mercy. In Jesus' name, amen." Through the trials, bro, when my dad and mom told me that I was not my dad's real son, had I flipped the script, my uncle may not be in heaven right now. And it ain't because of me, it's because God used me.
Powerful, brother. I was gonna say for sure because you never know the date, the hour, the minute, the
That's it.
second, and for in that moment for him to want to open his heart up to that, man, that's a blessing. I was gonna say that was what this past year, right?
I think it was yeah, it was within the last 2 months.
I was gonna say so you had that in the most trying time of your life and your son's life,
Oh man.
kind of dabble into that. You know what I mean? You going and it's supposed to be the year that he takes off. Like it's supposed to be senior
Yeah.
year, Ohio State, big
Yeah.
offers coming, but it's faced with a lot of trial and tribulation. Kind of dive into that, not only how you felt as a father, but how that affected you as a person as well.
Yeah. So sophomore year, he had his freshman year, he had already got a couple like D2 offers. Sophomore year, has a great sophomore year, ends up getting offered by Howard, Division
Hmm.
One HBCU. Wide receiver coach at the time was Coach Scott, Artavis Scott, who played receiver for Deshaun Watson at Clemson. They beat Alabama like baller. So
Mm,
it's like, man, this guy's looking at my son saying that he can play. And I heard him he said on the phone conversation, Shaden had him on speakerphone when he offered him. He said, "Look, man, I'm just calling you to be your first offer." He said, "But I promise you, this will not be your last one. I want to be your first one." He said, all I ask is that when Alabama and all the big schools come calling, if you decide on one of those, just don't ignore me and just be real with me. Tell me, that you have moved on.
right.
So nothing but respect. Well, of course, we know the story. Junior year rolls around. Before junior year, hurts his hamstrings. Out, misses about six weeks. Comes back playing week 6 against Apollo. Hurts his lower back. and never returned for the rest of the season, bro. Was doing all the physical therapy, everything under the sun, spent all the money I know I could spend, and just couldn't get him healthy. Finally, the doctor, playoffs, Chaden wanted to play hurt, like in pain. And you had been through some things, and I said, hey man, we had talked about the Toradol shot, and I said, doctor said shut him down. He shouldn't even been practicing, and he shouldn't even been doing anything. So he didn't get to play. Summer comes back, we get him healthy. He's going into senior year. We get a new coaching staff. Uh Bro, sky's the limit. Like you said, this is the one. This is the year. Coaches said just put it on film. We just want to see it on film. You've done built your body. You've got a D1 body now. Let's roll.
Mm-hmm.
Week 3. Let me think. Cal, St. X, Catholic, Davis County. No, week 6. Week 6 again, bro. And I told him that, I texted him that day, that morning, we were playing Apollo. I said, this is the one. This is the game that's going to break out and get you rolling. And first series of the game, bro, they throw him a screen. He takes off for about 31 yards. Dude catches him from behind, horse collar, grabs him in his horse collar, yanks him down, still can't get him down. Chaden's carrying him for about 5-8 more yards. And finally he hip drop tackles him. And boom, right on his ankle. And Chaden rolls over, like crowd's going crazy and don't even realize Chaden got hurt.
Right.
High ankle sprain. And I'm not going to say no names, but the crazy thing is the kid that did it to him was our starting quarterback to start out that Saints season.
Oh man, yeah, I know.
Yeah. So high ankle sprain. So that's week 6. He misses week 7. We have a bye week because of fall break, which helped him. He misses week 8. Then week 9 against Madisonville. We're at Madisonville. First half, he's still playing. He's got his ankle wrapped up. He's still in pain. I asked him, he comes back out at halftime. I think at the time he had like 3 receptions for 20-something yards. And he comes over before warm-ups, and I said, how you feeling? He said, still hurts. I said, well, son, you got to play through it. I said, this is one of them things you got to get through. You're no longer injured. You're hurt, and you got to play, you know. So he goes back out there, bro, crazy. First drive of the third quarter, they throw him a slant, and he catches it and takes off for about 23 yards. And, of course, we know Chaden. He's got about 4 people wrapped up on him. They can't get him down. He's fighting for every inch. And dude comes up behind him and pokes the ball out. Boom. Fumble. So, damn,
Yeah.
So I'm on the sideline, and, of course, dad in me, and, I know what my son's been through, and I hate even seeing him, part of football, but I hate seeing him fumble the ball. I'm over like, man, we go back out on offense. Man, give him the rock back. Give him the rock back, And offense coordinator did. Went right back to him, bro. Catches a slant, cornerbacks behind him. Again, horse collars him down, drops his hips down, other ankle. Chaden rolls over, bro, pounding the ground, screaming and crying. Like, bro, had never seen this dude. Like, this was the first time in his life that I've seen him break. They get him off of the field. He comes over, bro, and I mean, he's crying like a baby, like whimpering, all the whole 9. And I'm right, in Madisonville, the track's the only thing that separates the football field, so you can get as close as you want.
Right.
So he's sitting on the bench, bro. I mean, just beat, just hurt. Like, here we are again, like, bro, like basically like it's over. Bro, there's nothing I could do, bro. I hugged him, told him I loved him. Hey, man, we going to get through this one too, and he's just cussing, bro, like, F, like, man, I'm tired,
I know that feeling way too well. I'm with you, yeah.
Bro, so, bro, I had a hat on. I took it off, threw it down on the track like, man, God, I don't know what you're doing, man, but this has already been heavy these last year and a half, and here we go again. Like, what are you doing? So, bro, he misses the rest of that game. He misses week 10 against Henderson, and then playoffs roll around. First week of playoffs, we knew he wasn't going to be back, but we was seeing Kaylin out of Integrated Solutions, and she was taking care of him the whole year, bro, above and beyond.
Right.
I paid for a membership. I think it was $500, bro. When I say above and beyond, the work that she done, the cost of it, nowhere close to what I could have paid, bro. She took care of him. But, bro, every time he got hurt, those ankle injuries, she got him back. Week 1 of the playoffs, we knew he was going to miss. But week 2, She's like, he should be ready. So week 2 comes around. He's still hurting. He practiced, bro. He goes out there, gets a Toradol shot, ready to play. Go in to the game, and he don't play until the fourth quarter. They put him in at safety on the last play of the game. The team gets the ball, runs up the middle, touchdown. That's the only play he played. I'm hot. Like, why would you
Mhm.
put him in at the end of the game? He's not even a safety, he's a receiver. There's no reward to it for the team, and there's no reward to it for him. There's only a risk. Next week comes week 3. Bro, they put him in at receiver in the third quarter. Game's already out of hand. He's out there just to block. They put him in again, fourth quarter, very last, to kneel the ball out. So he's frustrated. Like, what's going? Like, we talking about a kid who was talking to 16 different Division I schools after his sophomore year, already had a D1 offer, starter his sophomore year, starter his junior year before he got hurt, and starter his senior year.
Right.
And now he's not playing in the playoffs of his senior year on a team that is more than likely going to state. Quarterfinals rolls around. No, semifinals rolls around at home. He plays three series, I think. And bro, it's crazy how one little thing can give you momentum. Evan Hampton, who is a 4-star running back playing at Vanderbilt, runs off tackle to the right. Chaden's playing outside receiver on that side. And for whatever reason, Chaden threw his hand up like he was running a go route, and the corner followed him all the way down the field. And the news people who got the video, bro, got Chaden on there perfect. And Chaden got his hand up, and that corner follows him the whole way. Evan walks into the end zone. And like I posted it, and last time I looked at it, bro, it had like 30,000 views. And people was commenting about how he tricked that corner and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I think that gave Chaden a little bit of hope. Here we are, bro, going to the state championship. Bro,
I ain't won
nobody
one
knows.
since '86, by the way, but yeah.
Yes, 38 years, 39 years. Nobody knows this. Few people. But we're playing on Saturday, December the 6th. Friday, December the 5th, I get a text from Chaden and says, Dad, I don't even want to play tomorrow.
Mm.
I said, what do you mean? He said, they don't believe in me anyway. There's no sense in playing. I said, what do you mean they don't believe in you? He said, if they believed in me, I'd be getting my spot back. Mind you, there'd been a lot of things that went on all season, been a lot of things that went on previously with the coaching staff, bro, that I felt like he'd been blackballed to for lack of a better word.
Right.
I think that my status and my voice in the city and in the community kind of was held against him because I'm going to be down for every kid and I'm always going to say what's right. I was just a part of that staff 3 years ago. And one thing I didn't do was kiss anybody's ass. I was going to, whatever was fair, and that's how it was going to be.
Right.
I didn't care which kid it was. So anyway, I think he kind of took the grunt of that, and people, just kind of took it out on him, made him out to be the bad guy. And we're talking about a kid who's got a 3.7 GPA and has never caused trouble, comes in at 9:30 at night on weekdays and 10:30 on the weekends. Never has missed curfew probably 3 times. Great kid, love him to death, in church every Sunday, but made to be the bad guy. Anyway, Friday he texted me, he said, Dad, I don't even want to play. So I tried to flip the script on him. I said, son, we don't care about stats. Stats are great. We want them. We get it. But at the end of the day, that's not what we care about. We care about being champions. And
Right.
I said, the goal was to be a state champion before you graduated. I said, and that's still on the table. And I think part of him thought, even if I go, I'm not going to play because he didn't play very much in these last few games. And now it's the state championship. We're going up against another state championship contender. So it's going to be a good game. And he ain't going to play because they already had some other starters. So I said, man, let's take all the stats away. Would you trade in all the stats that everybody else has got across this city this year for a state championship? And to my surprise, he said no.
Mm.
And I said, son, somewhere along the way, I failed you. to make you think that stats were more important than winning a state championship? I said, I love stats too. I said, but it's never more important than being a champion.
Right.
And he said, well, I think anybody would say the same thing. I said, nope. I said, ask Evan. I said, we're talking about a 4-star recruit, breaking records at OHS, records that's been around forever, and up for candidate for Mr. Football. I said, I guarantee you he would trade in all the stats and all the recruitment stuff to be a state champion. And Chayton said, ain't no way. So what I do, I text Evan and didn't even tell him that me and Chayton was having a conversation. I said, Evan, if you could trade all of it in, would you trade it in for a state championship? And he said, Coach, I told B-Rob last year that if I had to get rid of all this stuff to win a state championship, I'd do it. I said, Evan, I knew what you was going to say. I believe you. So I screenshot the text and sent it to Chayton. I said, I told you. He said, I still wouldn't do it. I said, then I've failed you as a dad for you to think the stats matter more. I said, but here's the thing. Don't show up tomorrow. Don't go to the locker room if you don't want to play in the state championship. But I'm telling you, when you get my age, you are going to regret it for the rest of your life. And that was the end of the conversation. Well, we know as the story goes, he showed up Saturday morning, went to Kroger Field with the team, December the 6th,
Mm-hmm.
Lexington, Kentucky, did not play the whole first half. And I'm setting up in the stands, and to be honest with you, I had done got beyond pissed off.
Right.
And some of my good friends is with me. And I just said, I said, look, I'm tired of holding it in. I've been holding it all in these last 2 years. I've been the nice guy. I've been taking the high road. I said, if we win the state championship and Chayton don't play, he's not going to feel like he was a part of it. It's not going to mean anything to him. And I
Right.
said, I'm telling you right now, if he don't play in this game, I'm letting it all loose. And my words were, I will ruin this for everybody.
Mm.
This won't even feel like a celebration if he does not play,
Damn.
bro. And we come out of halftime, and first drive of the game, Chayton's on the field. Second play of the first drive, 41-yard touchdown. Chayton catches the ball in the end zone, and the celebration was, it wasn't even a dance. It was I told y'all.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, everybody that asked Chayton to this day, what did it feel like? Here's how I know it was a God moment. And there was plenty of things to tell me it was a God moment, but this stamped it. God, Chayton always says, it felt like a movie, which tells me that it did not feel real.
Yeah.
And bro, I did not know till later. And you know me, standing on faith. My mom told me that at halftime she went in the bathroom. And we're talking about a woman who had just come off of breast cancer surgery, who they wanted to do chemo and all that stuff, bro, and she turned it down. And still to this day, cancer free by the grace of God. But
Yeah.
she said she went into the bathroom and prayed and said, whatever you need to do, whatever you need to say to them coaches, God, my grandson has got to know that he's a part of this team and he needs to be able to show what he can do. And Chayton tells me after the game that the head coach comes in the locker room at halftime and says, how come our outside receiver has not been rotated yet? And the receivers coach didn't have nothing to say. And he said, you need to get Chayton in the game, third quarter. So we went from my
Damn.
mom saying, hey, you need to tell the coaches this, to the coach coming in the locker room at halftime saying this, to a 41-yard touchdown, bro, which ended up being the longest receiving touchdown in OHS history. 41 yards.
That's dope. I'm gonna say shout out Miss Peggy, man. By the
Yeah.
way, man, that's my home girl.
Yeah. So, bro, like, but you said the feeling these last couple years, the feeling this year, beat up, bro. Curry, I said it in his, I wrote a letter he signed 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I wrote a letter to him and broke all my feelings down to him. And basically, I just told him, I said, man, I carried a load that I did not want you to carry, that was too heavy for me to carry. And eventually I had to give it to God. Because if I continued to carry it, it was going to bury me.
Mm. That's powerful, bro.
Man,
Last two questions. I'll get you out of here after this.
hey, yep, you're good, bro.
For you, when you look in the mirror on a daily, day-to-day business, what separates Chad Morris versus anyone else?
I won't quit,
Mm.
bro. No matter what. and I tell Chaden this, I tell all the athletes I train. Once you become a part of the program, once you Chaden's been a part of the program since he was born because he's my son. But once you become a part of the program and you are training with me, doing life with me, or whatever it is, I'm going to make sure that you have the same thing that I have. And that's the refusal to quit. No matter what life throws against you, bro, that's the one thing that I'm grateful that God allowed me to go through that in 2019
Mhm.
when the devil tried to kill me, when he tried to convince me to kill myself. What more can the devil do to you if he's already tried to convince you to kill yourself and God brought you out of it? If you can overcome that, Chad, what more can you overcome? So now there's not really much that bothers me. I tell people this. The devil knew that he couldn't get to me no more because he already tried to get me to kill myself. So then he attacked my son because he had already, my family members had already died growing up. I had already been through all that. So there wasn't really much that bothered me anymore. I had already got through the suicide. God had already brought me on the other side of the suicide thing. So now it's like, hey, I can't bother Chad no more because he know God got him. I'm going to get his son, the thing that he loves the most. So then he started, the injuries came. Of
Mhm.
course, devil can't do nothing that God don't allow. God allowed that stuff to happen because he was preparing Chaden for what's to come. And I believe it's going to be something great. But at the end of the day, bro, the devil's always going to attack the mind because Jesus lives in you. If you're a believer, Jesus lives in your heart. The devil can't live in your heart because light and dark can't mix. So when you ask Jesus to come into your life as your personal savior, he lives in your heart. The devil plays tricks on your mind to try to get you to believe that you ain't enough and that your Jesus don't really matter when you get in those darkest days. And my refusal to quit anything, knock me down, I'm getting back up. You can't stay down. In life, you're going to get knocked down plenty of times. And I might get knocked down tomorrow. But what separates Chad is I'm not quitting.
Last thing, when the dust settles, you're gone on, you're with the Lord. What do you want people to think when they hear the name Chad Morris?
I want people to say that they seen Jesus in me,
Mhm.
that I gave them Jesus, and that I was one of the best dads they ever seen.
Brother, I appreciate your time. The sequel was way better than the first one.
Yeah.
Um, any closing remarks on your end? Anything that you want to add?
Always, always, always stand on faith. And if you don't know who God is, if you don't know who Jesus is, it's the best relationship you can ever have in your life. It will completely change the way you see life, completely change the way you see people. And one more thing, don't ever put yourself above anybody or below anybody. God has placed value on all of us. That value was bought with blood. Jesus shed his blood on the cross, and that was the payment for all of us. Don't ever think that you are not valued, but nobody is more valued than you, and you are no more valued than anybody else. We're all even. Black, white, yellow, green, no matter what country you're from. I always say, thank God I was born where I was born at, because if I was born somewhere else, I'd be fighting to get to the United States to make my family better too. I love everybody. That's the key.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Chad Morris, my brother, my mentor. He's taught me a lot about life. I appreciate you for taking the time out of your day to come spread your story, spread your pain, your hurt, but also spread your blessings and your winnings as well. This has been a sit down with DT. I am the executive producer. I am the host, the creator of the Sit Down with DT. This is distributed through One Dream, One Goal Media. You can find this on all platforms: Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, even find it on Deezer. I didn't even know Deezer was still a thing, and iHeartRadio as well. Thank you guys for your time. You guys have a blessed day.